everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be a review slash wear test video comparing two of the very famous ELF concealers. We have the well-known 16hr Camo Concealer, and I have also the newest one that they have, which is the Hydrating Camo Concealer Satin Finish. I got both these in the same shade, which is fair beige. They're a little light, but we're just gonna roll with it. I have been wearing both of these for at least a week, and I wanted to just do a review slash comparison video wearing both of these. Probably not for 16 hours, let's be real, but I will attempt to wear them for at least more like 10, 12, just so I can show you what they look like, because obviously it's always nice to hear about it, but it's even better if you can see it. So I'm currently not wearing any under eye concealer, and I have to say, if you feel bad about your under eyes, do the rest of your makeup just for fun, because I feel like on camera maybe it's going to look bad because lights and everything, right? Everything full coverage always looks better, but I don't think it's that bad, at least in person. So let me zoom you in so you can see them in their whole glory. I don't feel like they're that bad for someone that has not been sleeping a lot. So I'm going to be applying both of these with a sponge, although let's start with the full coverage one, the 16hr Camo Concealer. I feel like this one works probably better if you use your finger. Personally, my preferred way of applying it is a sponge, then going with my finger. So let me just do a little swatchy swatch on my hands so we can see the colors, compare them. You can see the coverage too. I did not apply a lot. This is like super full coverage. I'll reduce the lighting once they're applied just so I can really show you all the details, but I think this might be better. So yes, you can see this is very, very pale, and it is pretty much, let's be real, the Tarte-shaped concealer packaging. I feel like a lot of brands have been coming out with like dupes, and this is definitely the same look. My personal issues with the Tarte one is that it looks really great on camera, but it's a bit much for my personal under eyes on a daily basis because it is very full coverage, but a little drying slash dehydrating, and my under eyes are definitely on the dehydrated side. It's not too bad right now because, you know, it's like spring, but let's do this eye. I'm going to try to apply just a little bit because you do not need to apply a lot to get full coverage. I don't know why I decided to do my whole makeup today. I just felt like it, and here we are. So the sponge, I barely applied any. It's probably still going to be enough. You can already tell, like, I'm trying to blend this and like a lot of coverage. Yeah, it's a bit light, but I ordered these a few weeks ago before the sun really came out. Actually, real talk, in Canada, in May, we had one day that it snowed. So like, I think that's why I went with fair, because I didn't think I would get a tan anytime soon. The sponge works to do this, and afterwards, to really get it to look decent, I have to use my finger. So I don't know if it's the water in the sponge, maybe the brush actually would be better. But I'm not really a fan of using brush under my eyes because, again, the dehydrated state of my skin. Okay, so I'm sure on camera right now it looks like really flawless. You can definitely tell that it covered any of the darkness that I had. I do feel like it looks a tiny bit dehydrated, which again, I'll zoom you in. I will not be setting it with any powder. You do not want to do that unless you have super oily under eyes, which if you do, kind of lucky actually. But I applied just a little bit, so it doesn't look too bad. Let's do the other eye before I zoom you in. So again, the other shade is also fair beige, but, oh, same container, applicator. I find them a little big. Does anyone agree? I prefer when they're smaller than this, really. Like, this might work to contour your face, but like for my under eyes, it's like literally the size of my eye. But notice the difference in color. They're the same one. I don't know if it's the case for like every shade. I would assume so. I feel like you don't notice as big of a difference because they're fair, so they're like straight up white, right? But the hydrating one, whoops, there we go. The hydrating one definitely looks peachier and less pink. So definitely keep that in mind, and confirm actually in the comment section if you have both of them, if you have like the same shade, if they are all the same way, like the hydrating one is always peachier. I don't know, let me know. But let's do my other under eye. This one I can apply a tiny bit more. I still don't want to apply too much. Different sponge. Might have been a bit much. Let me just remove a little bit. This one I personally really enjoy applying it with a sponge. I feel like it just gives me a very flawless application. Doesn't apply too much product, but also doesn't, you know, remove it. It just is very even and forgiving for my under eyes that are, again, dehydrated. Hopefully you can tell on camera. I will try, worst case, to bring it in front of a window a bit later. But this side definitely looks whiter, but not in a good way. I feel like it looks kind of like gray compared to this one. This definitely looks closer to my skin tone or the color that I would like my under eyes to be. And I feel like it looks more, again, worst case, I will bring you in front of a window, but I feel like it looks just better under my eyes. This one is a little dehydrated. We'll see throughout the day what happens. Sometimes I will set this one with powder, just a tiny little bit. I've been using the Becca one. This is the under eye brightening setting powder. For today, I'm just gonna use my finger in a few seconds because it will probably settle a tiny bit by, you know, making faces. And I'll just need to do that once, and I feel like it's usually enough to not like settle anymore. But yes, this is right now. I will leave them on my hand for as long as I can without, you know, accidentally putting concealer everywhere. And I'll come back and we'll see if there is some type of oxidation happening, because sometimes I find some concealers, they'll look fine at first under my eyes, but then a couple hours later, I feel like they're looking like kind of orangey under my eyes. So for now, what we noticed is that the hydrating one is a better shade match for me, and that it seems to work better on the texture of my skin, but this one definitely gives me more coverage, and I feel like on camera, if you're like doing pictures or something, this might be giving you more coverage, which is usually what a lot of people like for those times. It's kind of early in the morning. So yes, I will update you again a little bit later with this and just in natural lighting, and we'll just wear these as long as possible today. Before I forget, let me do some swatches next to the other swatches, which let me lower. There you go. You're going to see this better. We started with the fully opaque one, so let me do a swatchy next to that one. Oh yeah, they definitely dry darker. And then the hydrating one. So pretty major difference. But my first instant, can't say it in English. Definitely the hydrating one is definitely peachier, and the other one is definitely pinkier, and they definitely get much darker than when you freshly swatch them. I don't think it looks crazy under my eyes. This side I feel like it's still a bit too white, which that might be too pale. Okay, I think this lighting might be decent. You can see that it gives me that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like whitewash. It's kind of gray looking because it's so white and just very full coverage too, so it just gives me a look I don't really care for unless it's on camera from further away. It gives you that brightening look, but I feel like in person it just doesn't look the way I want it to look, at least. And this one is definitely closer again to my skin tone, so I feel like this one looks better. Right now though, I don't feel like this looks too bad in terms of dryness. This one is still doing okay too. And if I look at the swatches from really up close, hopefully you can kind of tell, but the hydrating one seems to not be 100% dry. Hopefully you can tell. That might be better for you to see the colors. You can see how much darker they dry. So definitely go a little bit lighter than you might think. Okay, so my microphone was off, but I just wanted to show you that I tried to remove the concealers with a makeup wipe, and the dried 16hr Camo Concealer would not budge. I needed waterproof makeup remover to remove it, so you can probably swim with it. Let's pretend my bangs are not doing their own thing right now. It's like third day hair, I need to wash my hair. So I'm bringing like really bright lights because there's like no more natural lighting and I really want you to be able to tell. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to insert some, I think I'm gonna need to insert some like clips with my phone or something, because I really want you to be able to tell. This side is definitely still the most like brightened one, but I feel like, you know, I have like a natural line, whatever, here. I feel like the concealer disappeared from that spot, and for me this is too dehydrating for me to like set it with powder, so it's too much for me. If you have like super skin, which I feel like everyone on YouTube seems to have, they're always like putting a ton of like very thick dehydrating concealer and then they set it with a ton of powder. If I did that, I would look so creepy. I kind of already do. Actually, I'll try to insert like a picture or something for you to really see the texture. And then on this side, it's a little dehydrated, but nowhere near as much. So I feel like if I have to choose a personal favorite, I would have to go with this one. This one I would still wear on a camera just because I like the look. Again, on camera, it's a bit much for me on a daily basis. But both for price, they're really great. Obviously, it depends on your skin type and your needs. But for me, the winner is definitely the hydrating version. perfect on a daily basis. I will be getting a lot of use out of it. Maybe not right now for this color. I can probably still get away with it for like a few more weeks, but middle of summer it's definitely going to be a bit too light. But when fall and the winter approaches again, I'll definitely get a ton of use out of it.